Welcome to the water test of the first Mary Fisher 895 Serie 2 in Australia.
Welcome back to the Rudder. My name's Brooke and this is Damian, and you guessed it, we are on the water on a brand new 895 Series 2 thanks to Northside Marine.
So we're sitting on the bow of the very delicious new bow of these 895. There's 3 lounges here. There's a bit of wind about, but we are being held in place by the auto helm of these new Yamahas. You can see it's froth and bubble over there. So we're going to be doing a few things today. We're going to get the drone up. We're going to do some cruising, we're going to do some speed tests, and then we're going to have a look at the maneuverability of this fantastic vessel.
There's been lots of questions asked about how this boat performs on water with the new hull shape and also the two 250s. So in this in-depth video, we're going to show everything you need to know about how this boat handles on the water. So I'm going to show you the efficiency of the 895. It's my job to drive in this bit and Damian's going to talk us through it. So we're going to start going at a slow 6-knot pace.
So we're just going downwind a little bit. There's a bit of chop on the bay today, which is a nice way to test a boat. So we're just going to get up to 6 knots.
Just getting used to the throttle control. It's a little bit different to the Series 1, so I just don't want to floor it. Oh, which I just did then. Okay, so we're at 6 knots.
And it's very comfortable. That was quite easy. We're doing about 1400 RPM and 13 or 14 litres per hour, so quite good numbers. Perhaps a little bit more than the Series 1, but we do have an awful lot more horsepower out the back.
That's right. So we've got 2 200s on our 895, and at the back here we've got 2 250s, so there's a lot of difference in both the weight of the boat and also the power.
All right.
What would you like me to do next?
So let's go up to a sort of 20 knot cruise, 22, our standard cruising, and it jumps out of the water straight away.
So we're at 14 knots now. And it's actually really responsive. We're up to 20 knots quite easily.
All right, so we're doing around about 20 knots at about 3,600 RPM. So those stats are a little bit better than the Series 1 or Antoinette, which does sort of that low cruise at about 4,200 RPM. So we're using about 70 litres per hour. So we're just going into the chop here. Handling it really well.
So we need to take 2. We were going really fast then, and the front cushion, we nearly lost it, and we didn't want to have to explain to Northside Marine that we lost their front cushions. So we're going to go again. And I'm not super comfortable going this fast, but I'll see how I go and I'll read out the stats for us. So we'll see how we go getting up. It actually is really responsive, so I'm going to try and go from nothing to as fast as we can, and we'll see how it feels.
Reading.
Okay, so we're at 20 knots, 22 knots, 25.
33, 34.
And we're doing 65 litres an hour. No?
Not doing 65.
I don't know where to look at it.
My turn in the helm. Brooke's had enough fun. As you can see, we've got all the toys. We've got automatic zip wakes. We've got the Helm Master control, new electronic dual throttle, and our bow thruster. So we're just doing a slow. It's actually quite hard to keep this thing going slow. We keep on jumping up. We're 7 knots, doing about 18 litres per hour. It's all very comfortable. We're going into the chop at the minute. It's a bit bouncy today, but it's not too bad. Very comfortable. The steering is extremely light, and the throttle control is very light. So it's a very responsive vessel, even though you're 9 meters long. I'm going to change this into, take it back to neutral. And we're going to go single lever, which makes life a little bit easier. Let's just get back up to 6 knots again. Keep these windscreen wipers going. So 6 knots, 18 litres per hour, 1600 RPM. Very nice. We'll just go up a little bit now. And I'm trying to make it like a comfortable ride, like what you'd try to do if you had some people on board. There are some big bumps coming through the bay at the minute. Give it a bit of juice, get it up there. 15 knots, 16 knots, 80 litres per hour a minute. And we're at 20 knots, 80 litres per hour at 3,900 RPM. We're at 2,300 knots. So it's about 75, 68 litres per hour. There's a bit of bump happening, but the steering is quite light. I'm going to put it into a bit of a turn at this speed, see how we go. Bit of side shore, get it right the way around. Now we're going down. Bit more comfortable there. 20 knots at 70 litres per hour. Whoa. Just got some vent coming through, that's quite nice. And going downwind, it's all very comfortable. The zip wakes are taking care of all that sort of messing around, keeping us nice and flat. Only one thing to do, we'll go for a quick open up and see what we can get. We probably won't go full open up because it's a little bit too bumpy today. Immediately jumps out of the pocket. We're at 27 knots, 144 litres, 30 knots, 140 litres. And I am not all the way open. We're at 5,000 RPM. Going downwind, this is quite comfortable. So just while we're on the plane, just wanted to give it a bit of boot into the corner. It remains very flat all the way through. As I said, there is a little bit bump as we go sideways here. Coming all the way around. And you can hear the hull take those bumps a little bit, but very comfortable. Back to a little bit more normality. It's a bit of there's a few white caps starting on today. I don't know, the winds are getting up to maybe 10 or 15 knots. So we pulled the drone down, but you've seen how the boat, it kicks in as you take off, but then settles into its cruise quite immediately. And if you had a bunch of people on board, I think it'd be quite comfortable. It is a little bit rocky today, but you know, if you're in calmer waters, you'd have some very exciting cruising. And we couldn't open it all the way up. We got to 50,000 RPM. We were somewhere around 35 knots. So those powerhouses on the back are certainly doing their job. We're going to pull in now and have a bit of a look at maneuvering this in a bit of a tighter space. All right, sea test is over. We're just coming back into the marina at tell you, trying to get this thing to go slow. Let's get under that 6 knot mark. We're coming in with the tide. A little bit better economy now. We're only at 1,300 RPM, using 13 litres per hour, coming in at 6 knots. There are quite a lot of differences between the Series 1 and Series 2. Obviously, the power on the back of this is quite incredible. As I said, we couldn't get it up full throttle just because of how fast we were going and the chop that was around today. It feels quite light. It is quite agile, I find. But yeah, it's a very nice driving experience. And even now, just coming in, I mean, we've got the doors shut. You've got 500 horsepower on the back there. You can barely hear it. And I must say, these new addition of the little vents here, we had a bit of spray coming over the place. It was fantastic. We could, yeah, a little bit of air. It's very nice while you're on the water. So as we get out of the wind and the waves, we'll come into the marina. We'll get the Helm Master going and we'll show you how maneuverable this 9-meter vessel is. And you've got so much choice for maneuvering. If you just want to go old school, you've got twin throttle controls. You can spin it on the dime using those. You've got a bow thruster to add a little bit more, or let it all go, turn on the Helm Master and let it do the work. It doesn't combine the bow thruster in this model, it's just using the twin engines on the back. So we're going to come in to, we'll find somewhere, and then how we can maneuver to docking and yeah, show you how it all goes. Okay, we're pulling in to a marina now. So we've got the wind on our nose. We'll just come in a bit. I can't even remember where we're parked. Okay, so we're just cruising in here, still using the throttles. But what we'll do is we don't have fenders on this vessel today, so we won't touch the dock, but I'll just pull up alongside it. So we're just turning the joystick control on now, and to maneuver the vessel, you simply, like a computer game, turn the thruster the way you want it. If you want to rotate the vessel, you're twisting it and you can see the bow coming around a bit. There's a bit of tide on us. This isn't holding us any place, there is a hold point, but I'm now driving with the joystick. So if you're coming in to dock here, you could simply press to the side, stop us moving forward, and it'll crab walk us over. We don't have fenders out today, so I don't want to get too close, but it is as simple as that. Now, obviously you've still got to take your tide and wind and everything into effect. One of the things to note is this is a relatively large vessel with a small draft and quite a bit of windage, so it does get moved around a bit, but you can easily handle the vessel in a marina with the joystick. As I mentioned, you could do it with your throttle and your bow thruster, but the joystick on this breeze works perfectly well. So as we take everything into effect, we're going to just pull into our slip. I'm driving at the helm and Brooke's just down the back keeping an eye on things, and this is all with the joystick, so just light maneuvers with the joystick. You can adjust the throttle, you can make it more aggressive or less aggressive. I think I'm on level 2 at the minute. So we're just pulling into our sea pen now. You can see it ahead of us, and I'm driving this with the joystick, so I've got the wind pushing us down a bit, so I can use that wind. Okay, and we're turning into our sea pen so I can maneuver straight in. We're inside the sea pen now, lifting the engines a bit. And we're almost home. So driving with the Helm Master is very simple. Oh, there we go.
Say it again.
So driving with the Helm Master is quite simple. I don't want to do too much now. We're inside the sea pen. One of the great things about that, it's going to capture us. And it does lock the steering wheel, so you don't have that control because it is through there. If you do want to break out of it, you can in an emergency. But yeah, easy, and we're home.
We hope you enjoyed the first on-water testing video in Australia of the brand new Mary Fisher 895 Series 2. If you're interested in looking at a full in-depth walkthrough of the video, check out that video here. We've also recently done a comparison, the differences between the Series 1 and the Series 2, so check that video out too.
If you've got any questions about some of the efficiencies or what we are onto, leave them in the comments down below.
A huge thanks to Northside Marine for allowing us on board this beautiful vessel.
Hope you enjoyed that video. See you next time on the Rudder.
Happy boating.
All right, we're going to do our final test, and we've come to a dead halt, and we're just going to jump it straight out of the pocket and see how fast we can get going. So Brooke, take it away.
All right, let's go.
Just turn it in. Just got to turn into the chop a little bit. Okay, ready? And dump it, go. There we go.
Oh my gosh. This is fast.
So we're going 28 knots, 30 knots. Stop, 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 stop.